everyone. How are you doing? Welcome to Money Conversations with Mars. I'm back with you after a few weeks. Folks, I have a competitive dancer in my home, and so our family really creates our summer schedule, at least for the month of July, around the competition. So we turn those into family vacations as well. And it's fun making friends with our dance family, and we have just had a good time. It was work. I'm not even gonna deny that. It's work. However, you find your downtime. I don't know, for those of you who follow me on Facebook, I posted pictures when we had free days. Didn't do too much posting on the other days because if you have any type of athlete in your home who competes, even though it's them that's on the stage or on the field, whatever your sport is, it's a lot for the parent. It's a lot of anxiety, not bad anxiety, but excitement, and you're keeping them calm and you're giving the pep talks. Like we always tell our children that you were a winner before you arrived. You are a child of God. We win. That's what we do. So regardless of what happens when you get off that stage, you are a winner. And we always ask, did you do your best? If you did your best, that's all you can do. You are a child of God. You are a winner. So that's how we keep them level, not getting caught up. But anyway, it's great. We have another competition coming up next week. This time is rolling by fast. I have a great topic. I feel like this is for the parents or the aunts and uncles who want to open up accounts for nieces and nephews. School is about to start back up here in the state of Georgia, where I am located. And so I just thought this was on time. Now, what I recently did in preparing for the school year that starts literally in a couple of weeks, looking at the money, budgeting, because again of the competitions, we had to start getting back to school ready, doing our shopping and things of that nature the end of June, because we knew as soon as the first competition comes, it's like we were going to be gone for 8 or 9 days. So anybody who's ever gone on any type of trip, whether it be business or personal, if you're gone over 5 days, when you come back, especially if you're running a business or working, you have to go through those emails. You have to unpack and wash clothes and put it away. And then you throw kids in the mix. Oh my goodness, it's a whole process of, unloading to get ready to leave again. So like I said, we had to start the going back to school process at the end of June, because we knew that when we come back from this next competition, we have the weekend and they go back to school on Monday. So this topic that we're going to talk about, I had to do my own research so I could pick the accounts that were best for my kids. And so if you don't mind, I would like to share some of my research, I'll call it. I've talked to you all about NerdWallet before. I went ahead and signed up on NerdWallet, built my profile, and they send me things customized to myself. You can do the same thing. I think NerdWallet is a great resource for information. There is a paid feature where they'll give you certain tips. Motley Fool, you've heard me talk about that. Earlier on in my 20s, when I first became interested in financial literacy, Motley Fool was the website that I would go to a lot. Since then, NerdWallet has come out, and I just really like it. I really do. However, I would say probably a couple of weeks ago, 2-3 weeks ago, I'll say, I created an account on mint.com because I wanted to kind of track my money. Now, I do have my spreadsheet because I can tinker with that a little bit more. However, the mint.com allows me to keep up with transactions on a daily basis. It allows me to categorize things. I can look at my spending in a chart form, graph form, what have you. And we're talking about serious tracking here of expenses and putting things in categories. And so I wanted to go back to that so I could really see what I'm doing, what I'm spending, how much. Those projections will help to create a budget in the future, depending on how you do your budget, whether it's a month at a time, whether you do it quarterly, or whether you really sit down and do it for a year. If you're a parent, maybe you do school year. I don't know. It just depends. However you want to do it. I feel that mint.com, it really allows you to get specific about your spending and putting things in categories and really having a lot of data to analyze so you know where to cut back, maybe move things over. It allows you to set goals. And so that's something I plan to create a test account so we can look at that. And maybe you want to use that to budget. But in the meantime, go to mint.com and kind of play around. Nerd Wallet does have something that's a little similar. However, I just found Mint to be easier to use. It was a little more functional to me. Nerd Wallet, I had to. So here's the thing with me, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about my my personality. I like things to be quick. I like to find things quickly. I do not like to look for things. You know, when I go in, I need to be able to click, 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 and do what I have to do. If I have to spend more than 2 or 3 minutes looking for something, my attention span, I'm just not going to do it. And so that is why I left Nerd Wallet for the budgeting purposes. I used Mint because it just seems like everything is bam, bam, bam. It's just right there. The categories make sense. The titles make sense. The verbiage that they use on the website, I connected with it right away. It was easier to me. Nerd Wallet, they need to put the things in one place, and you just had to click on things, and I just had to look for things too much. And like I said, I don't have time for that. So I'm using mint.com, and that's a great website. And they have a app that you can use on your phone. So we're talking about you're out and you want to analyze your spending, especially if you are to the point where you are setting aside discretionary funds. Pretty much after you've paid all your bills, you have money and you decide how you're going to spend it. And if you're out and you pull up the app and you want to see, well, how much of my discretionary funds have I used? You can look at it right then and there. And I think that's awesome. Like I said, I need things to be bam right there, right? So Mint is one of those things. You set it up, you sit down, you take the time to set it all up, and you will get so much information. You know, you can study your patterns. I feel like it helps you to plan your weekends. I just love that website. And this isn't my first time using it. I've used it before, you know, probably when I had more time on my hand before I had 2 children and I could spend a lot of time, which that is something that I used to do. And I'm really going to get into these accounts, but I feel like this is worth sharing. So before I had kids, on Saturday mornings, that was my routine. Make my coffee, go to my office, sit down, sip my coffee, and go through my spreadsheet. It was just so awesome. And I would really, you know, put in transactions, you know, look at my bank account, really, you know, read down the spreadsheet, update things. And I did this every Saturday, like religiously, as they would say, every Saturday. So I also use mint.com then. I had a lot of time to do that. So I took a break from that. And, you know, I went to using like notebooks, you know, you quickly jot things down, you know, get paid, your business income, whatever. And then I went back to my spreadsheet, and now I'm back to Mint. However, I'm going to use the spreadsheet as well as Mint. Let me tell you another thing about me. I'm kind of like a nerd a little bit, in a good way, right? And I just want to say all nerds are amazing, right? Because nerds make this world go round. What are we on right now? Facebook, YouTube, all the social media. It was a nerd that created that. So you need to hug a nerd in your life because they run the world, they make the money. So What I want to use the spreadsheet for, I want to use the spreadsheet to create graphs and charts, and I want to look down in the future or down in the future. I want to look into the future so I can see how much money I'm saving as well as saving for the kids. So this brings me to what we're going to talk about today. I've been away for a while, so I'm kind of excited to be back. So bear with me. So let's present here. I'm going to share my screen. And like I said, because school is starting, we need to start thinking about some things just in case we have not. This is the perfect time to do so. So let's look at this. So these are my babies. That's Daniel. He's 8 years old. This is Olivia. Olivia is 9. This was actually last year in 2022. It was on her birthday. She turned 9 years old, and she will be turning 9 in September. So everyone is growing up. It's amazing how fast it goes. Just like they would say, it's going to go by fast. People who said that were absolutely right. So UTMA, UGMA, and 529 accounts. So the UTMA and UGMA. So you may be saying, what in the world, is an UTMA or UGMA account? All of these acronyms and the UTMA account, and you can see me looking it up because I want to make sure that I read it out correctly and not confuse it. Uniform Gifts to Minors Act, Uniform Transfers to Minors Act. So, they can be used interchangeably. They have like little differences. So these are the accounts that I read about a few weeks ago when I set up the accounts for the kids. Now, I have a lot going on just like you do. So this is something that I have been entertaining for a while. It's just that a couple of weeks ago, I actually went ahead and did it. So I had set it up partially, and had to go back to kind of finish it out. So let's take a look at these. So there you see NerdWallet. I'm telling you, that is a great resource. I use it all the time. So UTMA and UGMA accounts are taxable investment accounts set up to benefit a minor, but controlled by an adult custodian. In this case, it would be me or you, parent, guardian, relative, etc., until the minor reaches their age of maturity. When a minor is legally considered an adult, of course, that differs by state. In Georgia, it's 18. So at that point, the account assets transfer into the name of the minor, and they take it over from there. So UTMA and UGMA accounts. When the kids were born, when my children were born, I opened up 529s because that's what everyone was talking about. They were like, oh, you got to open up a 529 account, a college account. So I opened up a 529 account. I was a new parent. That was my first time, doing it. And so I did what other parents said. However, I don't think back then I had heard about this. Now, I think this was around then. It's just that I didn't know anything about it. So I was kind of excited to see this. Why? Because, folks, we don't know what the future is going to bring, and we don't know whether our kids are going to college or not. We may want them to go. We may have gone, and we may want our kids to follow in our footsteps. But hey, sometimes wisdom will say, follow the kid, right? Susie or Joe may show an interest in this or that. And so, it kind of works out well. I'm finding in the beginning now, like I told you, we're only 8 and 9 years into this parenthood game. So I don't profess to know everything about it. However, I can tell you from firsthand experience, you got to kind of follow them a little bit, but you give them like these narrow lanes, right? So we're kind of controlling the boundaries, but kind of letting them walk maybe one step ahead, depending on the category. Otherwise, we're in front. Does that make sense? But when it comes to what they want to do, like I said, I have a dancer. I have my guy is in karate. Both of them have played soccer. Daniel played flag football for the first time this year. We're trying to, kind of figuring them out a little bit. The girl seems to have taken to entrepreneurship. The boy wants to make Beyblade videos. You know what I mean? Which he doesn't know that he could be an entrepreneur in that. But my son doesn't like structure, so he doesn't like the work, but he'll make the videos. And let's say he were to be picked up for an endorsement, that would probably shock him, right? Because all he wants to do is play, turn the camera on me, and put it on the family Instagram page. That's all he cares about. He literally looked at me and said, "I'll help Olivia, but I don't want to have a business, mom." To me, that was, "I don't want to do any work, mom." That's what that was. But it's all good, right? We're still in belief. He's only 8. He has time. All right. So when I say that, all of that, I say that to say they may not go to college, which is not a bad thing. It's the 21st century, right? You can get a whole education off of YouTube. All right, so let's not criticize, look down upon. In my day, going to college was everything because it was a different time, but it isn't like that, okay? Depending on what you want to do. So again, I like to throw that out there. We're not going to criticize or judge, because just like college isn't for everybody, military isn't for everybody, entrepreneurship isn't for everybody, working a job isn't for everybody, different strokes, different folks. Freedom in Christ, right? He gave everybody gifts and talents. Let's just look. What does the scripture say? Your gift will make room for you. All right. So that was off on a tangent. Let's get back. So benefits of an UTMA or UGMA account. All right. There's flexibilities in these accounts. So you can bypass the trust process, the savings and cost time. There are no contribution limits, so you can put as much money as you want into these accounts. It's very easy to set up. I can tell you that firsthand. What took me so long to actually do it is going in the file cabinet to get their social security numbers. So can you tell me how lazy was I? I just was in a... You know how it is. You sit down at the laptop, you may have your list. It's like, okay, I'm going to do this today. I'm going to do that today. And I started it. And then it's like, oh man, I got to go upstairs to the file cabinet and get the social security numbers. And I did not want to get out of my chair. I'm just telling all on myself tonight. I did it because it's like, I got to get this done. So I'll skip it and I'll come back. So a couple of weeks ago, I decided to go upstairs, get the documents that I needed so I could set the account up fully. So it's very, very easy. There are no withdrawal restrictions, which is a good thing. All right. So you're putting the money in, you can take it out, and you don't have to use it just for tuition or books or something like that. And then when they become of age, you can transfer the money. Now, in knowing this, depending on what state you live in, at the legal age, the money goes to them and they're in control of the money. So what does that tell us? We need to be teaching them money skills, right? Because we don't want it to go to them and it's like, oh, I'm going to the beach, or I'm going to go on a shopping spree, or a friend shared with me. Oh my goodness, this was maybe 10, 15 years ago. And a friend at the church told me her son took his first paycheck and purchased a Gucci belt with it. His part-time job, he was in high school. Now he's a grown man today, a military man, responsible, great dad, all that, right? He bought a Gucci belt with his first paycheck. And that belt was every bit of $300 or $400. And this... They were not happy. The parents were not happy. They were like, what did you just do? Like, you worked all those hours after school and you spent all of it on a belt. A belt, just a belt. But anyway, so saying all that to say, we have to teach them skills if this money is going to transfer over to them. Hopefully we have the relationship where even after they have control of it, we can guide them and coach them through it. All right. What are the drawbacks? No tax benefits, taxable account, reduced financial aid eligibility, because remember, this counts as income. You cede control at the age of the majority. So that means us as the parent, we have to give them the account because it's in their name, right? We're open it. We're the custodian over the account. But when they become legal age, depending on your state, it's their money. So we have to let go. So again, bold, underline. That's why it's so important to kind of coach, guide, teach them, give them little scenarios where, you can kind of see if they're responsible or not. This is what I hope to do. Because again, my disclaimer is I'm 9 years into the parenthood game. So these are things that we are attempting to do, giving them little scenarios, giving them enough space to where if they make a mistake or they have regrets about a purchase, we have a teachable moment there, right? You want to start off while they're young so you don't get into the situation like the church friend of mine whose son bought this $300, $400 Gucci belt. Does that make sense? Irrevocable gift. So this isn't something that you can transfer over to someone like the 529, which we're going to talk about in a few minutes. We talked about reduced financial aid eligibility because now this money is theirs. So when it comes time to fill out the form, they do have to list this as income. Okay. All right. So let's go on. The 529. So this is the popular one that, you hear other people talking about, or at least I did. All I heard about were 529. So high contribution rates, generally with no household income limits or age restrictions. Through contribution limits vary by state. Typically up to $300,000 in a lifetime, total contributions are allowed, which is a great thing because if you start out young, and just think about it, young parent has a kid, or, young couple get married, they have a kid. They may start out making a certain income, but by the time the child is, getting ready to go into middle school, promotions, bonuses, started business, so that income is growing. Does that make sense? So they may start out with an account and they may not be making a lot of contributions at first, but hey, the future's bright here. And to contribute $300,000 into an account, that's amazing to have that for college because that's expensive, right? Beneficiary flexibility, the account can be designated and changed in the future for the benefit of any individual's education expenses, even your own. So what does that mean? It means that if your kid doesn't go to college, maybe you want to use the money. Or if your kid doesn't go to college, maybe you want to gift it to someone else in your family. That's pretty awesome, I thought. All right, so here's another pro, tax-free growth. If the parent is the account holder, it is considered a parental asset with little impact on financial aids awards. So unlike the UTMA account, that account, if they fill out the financial aid form, meaning the child, they have to list that as them having money. With the 529, if you, the parent, or me, the parent, has opened the account, that does not affect the child. So they still won't have any income or little income, even if they have like a little part-time job. That 529 account, they won't have to report it as their income. Does that make sense? I hope it does. All right. And again, you see the NerdWallet logo there, folks. I went straight to NerdWallet. All the articles that I read myself, and I was going back and forth. I had about 20 tabs open and setting up this account because I wanted to make sure I set up the correct account. Now, since the 529 is dedicated strictly to educational expenses, if your child decides not to go to college or qualifies for something close to a full ride with scholarships, the money may be unavailable for other purposes. Though you can change the beneficiary to another family member or pay the tax and a penalty on the growth of the assets. This is why, for me, I decided to open up the UGMA account for my kids. Only because, now we still have the 529s and I still can contribute, and, we could gift this to another family member because I have other nieces and nephews. So it's something to think about if you're able to contribute to more than one account. That would be an awesome graduation gift, right? Instead of, I don't know, what are we gifting people for graduations these days? I don't even know, right? Like what's a good graduation gift if, and going to college, I guess, get them things for their rooms and in that, or if you're not spending a lot of money on a party or something like that, maybe a car or a bike to ride on campus. I went to my undergrad with a bike and a car, because we could have cars on our campus, and my campus was so large, I would ride my bike to class, and that was pretty cool for early morning classes. So, but that was a great graduation gift, because that's something I could use every day. You know what I mean? So let's keep going, because our time is dwindling down. Cons of a 529. Stock market exposure can impact returns in a down market, particularly in the period of time close to when you plan to tap the funds. Keep a close eye on the risk being taken overall, especially as the beneficiary nears financial need. For me, this is with any type of investment vehicle you use, there are always going to be risks. So don't let that stop you. There are risks in everything. There's a risk in walking outside of the house. It doesn't mean that you don't invest, okay? All right, another con. Oh, I'm going backwards, folks. We already talked about that. Let's keep going. All right, so 529 plan provides tax-free investment growth and withdrawals for qualified education expenses. Parents who start saving in a 529 account when their children are young can take advantage of these tax savings, as well as compounded returns, and in some states, a tax deduction on contributions. That depends on where you live. Go look it up according to your state. They have websites dedicated to the state that you live in. And then if you want some more details, go to NerdWallet. They have plenty of links that would take you to your state. So these are some other references or websites that you can go to read up on UGMA, UTMAs, 529s, College Well, Motley Fool, NerdWallet, Stash. I went to all of these. All right. And then if you need help, of course, you know, you can talk to me, because you should prosper. You need to know these things so we can prosper, and then so our kids can prosper. So I'm on Facebook and I am on Instagram. My podcast is still on iHeart, Google, Spreaker. I have some voice notes out there on SoundCloud and Spotify. All right. So it was nice sharing those things with you. You know that the Fab Five is on vacation. They have earned it, haven't they? So they'll be back in another week or so. And, you know, Regina will be with us on Wednesdays at 8:00 p.m. So look out for her. Make sure you're following the WIN Facebook page. Please go out to the YouTube page and like it and share it with all of your friends. Great quality programming. It's something for everyone. Of course, you know that we are believers, and there are 2,000 plus scriptures in the Bible about money. We're having a biblical conversation right now, folks. We're going to leave an inheritance. We're going to help our kids become wise with their money usage. We're going to leave some money for the next generation. Our family trees will produce fruit, and we're going to keep believing God every day. He's talking. He's going to tell us what to do with our money. And then we're going to take the time to be good stewards over what he has given us, because, folks, we make a lot of money in our lifetime. It's just all about what we're doing with it. And so it isn't that we don't have the money, it's what we're spending it on. So chin up. The glass is always half full. We just have to be good stewards over what we're given, and always believe in God for the best. So that's my show for today, Money Conversations with Mars, because you should prosper. And I will see you back here next week. Trying to make a wage now. Money, money, money.